Okay, guys, what is happening in France right now with their raising of the retirement age in their Social Security system is also what is being discussed here in the United States. Raising the retirement age again here in the United States, or fixing Social Security because it's set to run out of money literally in as early as 9 years. If you've been watching my channel, you know the details of this. We've been showing senators, congressmen, the Treasury Secretary, all talking about this here. But look at what is going on here in France as dozens of countries are having the exact same problem around the world. And they're talking about they're raising the retirement age just by 2 years from 62 to 64. Ours is already higher than that. They're talking about raising the retirement age to age 70 here in the US. And look at what the people are, how they're reacting. Take a look at this.
French President Emmanuel Macron drew an angry response from unions and opposition parties when he said he would press on with plans to raise the pension age despite fury among many French people. In his first public comment since pushing through the bill, Macron said in a televised interview he was undeterred.
And so this reform is necessary. And I say this to the French people, I don't enjoy doing this. I would have preferred not to do this. But it's also because of a sense of responsibility that I express my commitment to do this in front of you.
The comments did little to smooth things over. In Nice, an effigy of Macron was laid on the tracks and thrown into the air. Polls show a wide majority of French are opposed to the pension legislation. And the past 6 nights have seen fierce demonstrations across France with bins set ablaze and scuffles with police. Macron insists reform is needed to ensure the pension system does not go bust. But this union leader said the new law, pushed through Parliament without a vote last week, and which raises the pension age by 2 years to 64, needs to be stopped.
How can we hear that the street has no legitimacy? How can we hear that the pension reform, despite all the protests, will continue to be implemented? How can we legitimize this crime of democracy with these announcements? No, it has stirred up more hatred.
Socialist Party lawmaker Olivier Faure said Macron is creating the chaos.
He is an absolute pyromaniac. He's setting this country on fire. He pushes people toward entrenchment. He creates anger. He's the one who fuels the fire today.
Macron says he wants to re-engage with union leaders. This union member said she's open to talks. But before that, a 9th nationwide day of protests and strikes is set for Thursday.
Yeah, so if their problems sound familiar with their retirement system, aka our Social Security system, running out of money, raising the retirement age, which we've already done once back in the Ronald Reagan era, sounds familiar, it's because it is. We're not the only country dealing with this, just like we're not the only country dealing with inflation. If you've watched my channel, you know inflation is worldwide. Yeah, and they're protesting over raising the retirement age from 62 to 64. Our retirement age is already higher than that. The UK's retirement age is already up to 68, as you can see there. And now the US is already discussing raising the Social Security to age 70. A bipartisan group of senators is reportedly considering a plan that would raise the full retirement age for Social Security to age 70 as a way to prevent the program from becoming insolvent within the next decade. Social Security is often referred to as the third rail of American politics. Now, no matter how you look at it, this is a cut to benefits because you're either not going to be able to collect Social Security benefits for a few years, or if you collect them early, you're going to get less money in your Social Security check. Either way, it's a cut to benefits. Now, whether this comes from Republicans or Democrats or Biden or the next president, or this comes from a bipartisan group, it doesn't matter. It's a cut to benefits. The other problem here is that they're going to have to do something like this or bring in more taxes because just giving you guys the truth here and the reality of the situation is that the Social Security Trust Fund and Medicare Trust Fund, with the most recent estimates from the Congressional Budget Office, is set to run out of money in as early as 9 years. And these estimates have been getting worse and worse and worse because of how bad inflation is. And the most recent COLA raise, cost of living adjustment, the 8.7%, was the fourth highest raise ever. Okay, so that has been taking more money out of the Social Security Trust Fund than they had anticipated. Okay, and remember that the money that we paid into Social Security 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, was pennies on the dollars compared to today's dollars. Okay, the dollar, a dollar we were paying into years and years ago. When I first started paying into Social Security, my first minimum wage job was $4.25. So when I was paying 6.2% back then, it was like a quarter, per hour. Today's dollars are, it's $15 an hour, is what, Walmart's and a lot of these places hire at starting salaries. So today's dollars are a lot more expensive coming out of that Social Security Trust Fund. And the baby boomer population is retiring now. So a large percentage of people are retiring more. So there's less and less percentage of people paying into the system and more retiring. And we're not the only country having this issue. The other thing they can do, or there's several solutions here on the table, is to raise taxes, which means more money coming out of people's pockets one way or another. Whether it's the ever popular solution of tax the wealthy, which actually was done a few years ago on the Medicare taxes, but Republicans aren't too keen on the idea of doing that again, or raising maybe 1% more taxes on everybody paying into Social Security again is a solution here. Something is going to have to be done, because if not, they're talking about a potential 24% cut to Social Security benefits. And I actually just did a video here where I have them talking about it on the floor of Congress. It's a very good video here. I think it's with the Treasury Secretary. I'll link you to that video here right in a moment here. You can watch that and you'll see that the testimony go back and forth. It's a very good video. It's eye-opening here. The problem with this is that Congress has known about this for years. And what happens is you got Democrats blaming Republicans, you get Republicans blaming Democrats, and nobody wants to propose a fix. And look at what's going on here in France. They actually proposed a fix to raise the retirement age by 2 years, and look at what's happening in the streets. But the reality of it is they have to do this type of stuff. I think the U.S. would be a little bit more open to this, hopefully, because we've already done it once. 70 is pretty high for retirement age to even collect benefits, but what are we going to do? We need to do this type of stuff. Our system is just it's not. I want to say broken, but you guys can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. But it's just it's a system that's just, I don't know, broken. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. But you can see these protests are getting bad, and is this a sign for what may come to the U.S.? Because people are getting worried here in the U.S. as well, and this is what we're going to potentially have to go through. We have to fix our system, and fixing our system means either cuts or more taxes. You can see here violence broke out on Thursday as protesters set fire to the front door of the Bordeaux City Hall and newsstands across Paris, hurled smoke bombs and damaged property. Police tried to quell them with tear gas and water cannons late into the night. At least 149 police were injured and 172 police were arrested. It's not clear how many civilian injuries there were, and we don't yet have estimates to the extent of the damage. The French President Macron nearly survived a vote of no confidence this week has said he has no intention of reversing the law. He claimed in a television appearance Wednesday that he needed to convince the public that the reforms were necessary to save what he frames as the country's endangered pension system, especially given the higher life expectancy. But it's not at all clear that the current pension spending is out of control, and is making his claims only added to the protesters' fury. It's difficult to imagine the same kind of mass protest breaking out in the US over raising the age at which people can start collecting Social Security, which is potentially projected to potentially become insolvent by 2033, meaning that beneficiaries could see their checks diminished by 25% thereafter. Yeah, so you can see it here in black and white. And what do? How do we fix the problem? And the other problem here is that the longer this goes on with them not doing any changes to the program, the worse off it gets. If they wait another year, another 2 years, another 3 years, another 4 years, it gets closer to that insolvency date. They have to make more drastic cuts. That's even worse. In fact, a lot of experts think, and I actually kind of think this too, they've waited too long. If they would have made a change 10 years ago, like they did with the Reagan retirement policy change, and maybe made another change or two along the way, they actually could have stabilized everything. Now they've waited too long, and it's just the trajectory is on such a downward trajectory that we're on the way to hit zero. Okay. If they would have made another change along the way, they could have stabilized the trajectory so it would have been on a equal trajectory instead of a downward trajectory. So you guys can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Have they waited too long? And if they don't do it this year, next year is an election year. And then it's unlikely they'll do something before an election year. And now we've waited 2 years, and then we have a newly elected Congress and a presidency election. And then we're 3 years in, and it's just like it's just too late. They have to do something this year. So let me know your thoughts. I'll link you to that video here now. If you haven't yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below and then the bell icon so you don't miss out on new videos. The best thing is it's completely free to do so. And if you appreciate these videos, don't forget to hit the like button for us as well. Here's that video on Social Security with the testimony here in Congress. Very good video to watch here. And also here's a video about what just happened to SNAP beneficiaries and Medicaid, as well as millions of seniors. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.